Sin City. Saturday night. Fight night. Any given weekend, this place is the entertainment capital of the world. When combat sports shines brightest on the Las Vegas Strip. Boxing and mixed martial arts need some new voices. And Franchise Sports Media got them for you. Join Kalani Lua and Griff and Kemp each week as they bring you news and hot takes from inside the octagon and the ring. Get your popcorn ready. It's showtime. FSM's main event starts right now.
What's going on, fight fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm Kalani Lua.
I'm Griff and Kemp.
Man, oh man, Griffy boy. The UFC 2023 off to a hot and heavy start. We know about all the stuff going on outside the cage that we already talked about. But UFC 83, the first big card of the year in Brazil, of all places. Boy, did it get off to a tremendous of a banger. Tell us about it, my man.
Oof. This card is just what the doctor ordered.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We got the UFC in a month of controversy. A month after putting on the worst card to end a year, the worst card at Madison Square Garden, debatable, with 282. So what did they need? They needed something to liven themselves, to look better, to get back in the public eye in a good way. And you know what they did? They said, let's just sign Glover and let him know that gold is on the line. That's the one remedy you need.
He likes gold.
Oh, he likes that gold. And he put on a banger of a main event, along with the whole card in general. I mean, yeah, Johnny Walker with that insane finish. And I'll be honest with you, Johnny Walker isn't somebody that really demands a lot of respect. But now I think that's changed. He's had a couple of losses and a couple of memes of him getting slapped that, it's not great. But he redeemed himself. Then you have Brandon Moreno and Figueiredo 4. I mean, there was just so much this card did that was good for the UFC and good for fans of MMA in general. And I think it was the best way they could have started the year.
It definitely was a good one. I mean, we started at the top with the main event. The light heavyweight division saw Jamahal Hill become the new champion at 205, defeating Glover Teixeira. This was weird, Griff, because follow me on this.
Yep.
It was a dominant victory. Unanimous decision, 50-44. Not good. But when you watch that fight, there were moments where Glover was hanging in there being tough. There were moments where it looked like Hill was going to put him away, and Glover just said, no, brother. Gold is on the line. This is my last chance. I'm in my home country right now. I have to go out there. He's one of the toughest dudes, even despite being 43 years old. Sometimes he look like he's 53, but that's a tough son of a gun. He does not go away. He's tough like a $2 steak. Hill, to all his credit, shows some improvement in his wrestling, some of his ground game. There was a moment in the second round where Glover Teixeira took his back. We were like, oh no, he's gonna get the rear naked choke in. Hill said, no, buddy, I'm from Chicago. You ain't about to take my back. Wham, wham, bam.
Baby.
He jumps into it. Hill becomes the first winner from the Dana White Contender Series to wear UFC gold.
Yes, sir.
That's going to start being a trend. Your boy Sugar Sean O'Malley, he's going to have a shot at the title coming up later on this year as well. Will it be like the Ultimate Fighter where we start seeing these guys, Forrest Griffin, Rashad Evans, Michael Bisping, etc., wear gold? That remains to be seen, but we got a new champion at 205.
Yep.
I want to ask you this real quick, sticking with the main event before we dive into the next one. John Jones left in 2020. From the UFC as a dominant light heavyweight champion. Yes, Daniel Cormier did win the title while he was gone and suspended, but John Jones had multiple dominating years of murderers after murderers going down, being slept. Stay on track here.
Yep.
But now we've seen this title switch hands. Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira, Yari Prochazka, Jamahal Hill. 4 champions in the last, 2 years? It's the beginning of 2023?
Yeah.
The last 3 years, let's say. Do you like the fact that it's musical chairs with the title, or do you like seeing a long reigning dominant champion? What are your thoughts?
I mean, you have to kind of look at it at 2 different points. You can look at it at the point of the fans. What are the fans enjoying? Do they like seeing a John Jones dominate the division and beat everyone that comes around? I guess some of them do. Some of them do. But, or do they enjoy the fact that, yes, the belt is bouncing around from fighter to fighter in a 6-month span, But maybe that's because it's just a division full of killers who are just, you have to be real special to make it through that absolute laundry list of absolute killers. All right. I don't know which one it is when it comes to the fans. The fans are the fans. They're going to hate. They're going to love. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. There's no really controlling that.
No.
But when you look at it from a competitive standpoint, how competitive is the light heavyweight division compared to a heavyweight, lightweight, flyweight? I say you look at this division, and I think it's a positive sign what's happened the last 3 years. Give it take.
Okay, so you think it's positive?
I think it's positive because we've seen great performances. If it wasn't for this 3-year stretch, the belt dancing around to 4 different champions, we would have never gotten, I'd say, the golden ages of Glover Teixeira's career. I think Glover did some great things in his career, but what he did against Jan to win the belt at 42, what he did to finally, he lost the fight to Yuri, but that title fight was phenomenal.
It's one of the best title fights of all time.
Yes.
So there's no shame in that. It was his first submission loss in his entire career. He had a 25 win streak before even coming into the UFC.
Yep.
Would have came into the UFC years ago, had visa issues, travel issues, etc., etc. Gets to the UFC and kind of shows that even though he's a little long in the tooth by then, I'm still a top-notch guy. There's a reason these guys outside the UFC didn't want to fight me. There's a reason I was out here as one of the most feared guys at this particular division. But I'm gonna say this, and I mean no disrespect, and it's a great thing to see all these new champions. You're nothing but one-hit wonders. Nothing but boy wonders. Oh, okay, you got lucky that night. A broke clock is right twice a day. None of you are going to be able to dominate the way we saw John Jones dominate, the way we see George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, Demetrius Johnson. Do not forget about Mighty Mouse, okay?
No, do not.
Kamaru Usman, you could kind of throw in there as well because he was on the verge of it.
Yep.
Easier Adesanya. This is why I never understood why fans turn on these fighters. You go on these long, dominant reigns of just beating fighter after fighter. Think about this. Even though technically the board, the athletic commissions, the athletic commissions require you to be ranked to get a shot at the title. No one who's ranked outside the top 10, outside the top 5 is getting a title shot. No. You've never seen a champion taking on the 9th best guy in the division. Now you got to work your way up. So when the champion is on a long reign, he's generally taking on, or she, because Amanda Nunes, Chris Cyborg, we got to give them credit too. They're generally taking on the number 1 or number 2, sometimes the number 3 ranked fighter in that division. And time after time after time, Valentina Shevchenko's another one. All the names just coming to me now.
Yep.
But when we see this dominant reign by them, and then fans want to turn on them, oh, they're point fighting, they're not as exciting, the division's boring, and hey, don't blame me because the rest of the division isn't picking up. Don't blame me because the fighters in the division below me don't want to eat a couple burgers and move on up, or the fighters above me, if it's not heavyweight, don't want to come down and test their wills. I'm the dominant king here. I'm reigning supreme right now. To see it move from fighter to fighter, it's fun to hear. And the stories that come with it, you fulfilled a lifelong dream, just like we watch football right now. These guys who are low-level draft picks, undrafted guys, and they're playing in the playoffs. It's a lifelong dream to do. It's amazing. It's more amazing when I look at it and say, next man up. Who's next? Beat me if you can. Survive if I let you. To have that, it's amazing. So while it is fun, I'm on the side of I want to see long-reigning dominant champions.
I get your point, but here's the thing. Like I was saying before, Glover Teixeira has his golden age during this time. We had a new name in Yuri Prochazka, who he didn't lose the belt. He had to vacate it due to a shoulder injury. Yeah. But when he won the belt, people were looking at him like, okay, we finally got him. We got our guy. He is going to defend this title. He is going to go on a run. Then he gets the shoulder injury, and then we have Jan's input into it and everything. So the division is just seems so hot right now. There's 4 champions in 2 years. That's good or bad with either way you look at it. Yeah. But if you look at it, we have big names at light heavyweight.
Oh no, definitely.
When John Jones first originally left, we didn't have these names. People didn't give too much attention to a Jan or a Yuri, and Glover was just a respected vet. Now these guys all have title experience. They've been champions, and now you have this carousel where no matter what matchup you do, Yuri, Jan, I mean we can't do Glover anymore, but Jamahal, Jan, any of them. You put there's so many options. Uncle Live, oh my God, Uncle Live, of course, Uncle Live.
No, it is a plethora of killers in the division, and it is more sprouted. Yes. You're absolutely right about that.
But I'll tell you this, it's getting even hotter because last night after the fight was over and Jamahal Hill had been given the title, it was said over the broadcast that Glover's intentions now, he's going to go to fully onto coaching. And for anyone who doesn't know, he's already done coaching right now, and one of his pupils is middleweight champion Alex Pereira. And they
with the bow and arrow.
Yes, sir. And they are saying to this man, they were saying over the broadcast, his plan, Glover's focusing fully on Pereira, and then because once he's done at middleweight, he's gonna defend the title a couple times. That's his plan. And then he's gonna make the move up to light heavyweight.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he that is a big boy. Big boy. Middleweight. Okay, you see him at 185, and you're like, how? Exactly. How do you do that? But here's the thing. Okay,
but it adds.
So another reason you're seeing, you're right, but another reason this division is on fire because there's nobody there dominant for you to say, yeah, you're good, not better than him. When John Jones was up there, you look at some of these names. You're Dominic Reyes. You're only getting a shot because everyone else got beat. You're tall and okay, but Alexander Gustafsson, okay, you're a big, tall guy. You got some boxing to you, okay? Look like a Swedish Drago. Okay, cool. Let's throw you in there. None of these guys have necessarily the resume or the excitement behind them that says this could be a future champion. Now, though, because it's musical chairs and it's continuously rotated, either one of these guys could knock out the one until Big Daddy comes in and says, I'm back. Now, he's doing it at heavyweight, but has John Jones ever come down to 205? I think the only way he ever comes back is if somebody shows a level of dominance. Yeah. DC's over and done with, but if someone shows a level of dominance, maybe he comes back. Or maybe we see somebody who's at middleweight. Maybe we see somebody who, in a surprise manner, was at welterweight, and when he stands in the light heavyweight, he don't look that small. He got to try to go get his title back in London right now. Man, but one day he might say, "Hey, I might get in there with the big guys and see how I do."
Absolutely not. No, we are not going to see Kamaru do this. All right, it was ridiculous when he squared off with Jan. It's ridiculous.
He didn't look small against Jan.
He didn't look that big. He didn't look that big.
He didn't look that small.
Yes, you are a muscle hamster. Good for you, but you need the height. You need the length. You need to be able to reach and not get hit.
Guess what? I don't need to do all that. If I grab you by the legs, put you on your ass, and I'm on top of you, beating you down with fists, elbows, knees, and going for submission.
This ain't Jorge Masvidal, brother. This is Jan. These boys are 205 at weigh-ins, and they're about 220, 230 when they get in the cage.
Oh, this is true, but guess what? I'm Kamaru Usman, baby. Everyone that told me I couldn't take them down, guess where they go? Down, just like the elevator. Up, down.
The man also said he was going to defend his title against a guy he already beat. What happened?
Well, hold on. You take out 10 seconds of that fight, he went.
I'm just saying.
4 minutes and 24 minutes and 50 seconds. Yes. I did what I was supposed to do. Just this last 10 seconds, I don't remember. There's a reason for that, but hey, I get to redeem myself over across the bridge. We'll jump into that a little bit more.
Yes.
Griff, really quick, I just want to give flowers to one of the greats of all time. As you point out, Glover Teixeira put his gloves down in the middle of the ring, the ultimate sign of, hey, thank you guys, but this is a career for me. Glover Teixeira, really quick, the numbers. At light heavyweight in the UFC, 13 finishes, the most in the UFC. Surprising. You had John Jones, Chuck Liddell, all these great champions there. Glover Teixeira, most finishes. 17 submission victories, most at 205. 10 post-fight bonuses, the most at 205. Amazing. 953 significant strikes landed, the second most in the division's history. Again, just like we said, when he came over, it was already late in his career, long in the tooth. To have these numbers coming over in his mid-30s. Imagine that 25 win streak. Imagine if he came over when he was at 15 wins, 12 wins, 9 wins. The damage and the reign Glover Teixeira could have had. And okay, I am with you. The fact that John Jones is not the dominant champion, he gets to win the title, much deserving.
Yes.
But this dude just showed even without the title was a cherry on top of the cake. But even without it, I'm one of the best fighters of all time. So We're definitely going to see him in the UFC Hall of Fame.
Oh, absolutely.
Very quickly, before we dive into the co-main event.
Yeah.
You know who we're going to see in the Hall of Fame as well, who also was his last fight? Shogun Rua. Mauricio Shogun Rua, the Pride legend, the UFC legend, the guy who has defeated Quentin Rampage Jackson. Why'd you have to kick my boy in the face like that? Why'd you have to do that, man? Them soccer kicks, Rampage is my favorite fighter. The first man to defeat Lyoto Machida. Remember when Lyoto the Dragon Machida defeated Rashad Evans? He's going to go undefeated. He's going to go 27-30-0. How do you beat him? He's got jiu-jitsu. He's got wrestling. He's the striker. Shogun said, hold my beer. I got you. Mark Coleman, Forrest Griffin, the fact that he's beating Dan Henderson with those wars he had with Dan Henderson in Pride, knocking out Alistair Overeem, beating the Nogueira brothers. This is one of the greatest fighters of all time, one of the most feared fighters of all time.
Yes.
Shogun unfortunately did not win in Brazil, but he put his gloves down. He's walking away as well. But Griff, I know you got your 13 seconds on him. Take those 13 seconds out of it.
Okay.
The greatest featherweight fighter of all time, Jose Aldo, is going into the Hall of Fame. The legend, the GOAT, one of the all-time best, some of the best leg kicks. He damn near broke Uriah Faber's leg when they were in WEC. The dominant reign he had. Unlike some people, he didn't win the title and never defended. He defended it for 10 years in dominating fashion. He took on a who's who. Yes, at the end of his career, he's lost some matches, but let's be honest. He was taking on not only top guys like Peter Yan, Max Holloway, but guess what? I held my own against some of those guys. There was moments early against Max Holloway, I was going back and forth. Peter Yan, I was going back and forth. It just, thread on the tire ran out. Jose Aldo going into the Hall of Fame. It was announced at UFC 83. Glover Teixeira Shogun will be joining him at some point. Just very quickly, just take the 13 seconds out, Griff. Just do me that favor.
I'll do it for you.
Thoughts on Jose Aldo going into the UFC Hall of Fame? Minus 13 seconds.
It's well deserved. It's very well deserved. Jose Aldo, despite what happened towards the latter end of his career, he was a killer that everyone feared. He was somebody that people who were not even in the division, who, when it came to the fight with him and Conor leading up to it, people were talking about, what are your predictions? And everyone said Jose, because Jose was just like that. He was a strong, cold killer. He was knocking people out. He was defending that title. He didn't look beatable. And even after the Conor incident, let's just call it the Mac happened. All right. After the Mac happening, he then goes down a whole new way. He goes down even further with a more intense weight cut, and he holds his own in that division. Yeah. He actually was this close. He was this close to getting a title shot right then. But, he didn't win the last fight. It is what it is.
I think it was Peter Yan.
No, it wasn't Peter Yan. It was the guy who's actually fighting. I spaced on his name. It's unfortunate, but I'm gonna say this.
I do remember that, though. Yeah, but yeah.
Yes, he had a career much like Glover Teixeira, and these are the storylines of the UFC that I love. I love that these fighters who are so dedicated to their craft have been training at whatever art since they were 10 years old, 8 years old. They go and they have this whole great career, like a Glover Teixeira, like a Jose Aldo, and they have in their prime, they're great. But then at the latter part, where people might count them out because of their age, they're doing crazy things. They're winning belts. They're cutting down to lower weight divisions and storming through guys that people didn't give them a chance against. It's inspiring to see, especially when you think about the work it takes to not just fight in the UFC, but fight on a title performance. Yeah. To be able to put out performances like that and go against killers. My tip of the hat to Jose Aldo and Glover Teixeira, and when the announcement comes, it'll be well deserved. But Jose Aldo, happy to see him in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely belongs.
That moment in Brazil when he beat Chad Mendes the first time, hits him with the knockout with the knee, jumps over the fence, runs into the crowd. And you're like, where's he going? Where's he going? And the crowd picks him up, puts him on the shoulders. He's wearing the flag. He's floating it around. One of the most genuine moments. Like, it's one of those where even if you're not the most hardcore Jose Aldo fan, how can you not love and appreciate something like that? A man coming from someplace where he wasn't supposed to succeed in life. Very little opportunities, but he found one, made the most out of it, became a beloved, a representation of an entire nation. And for something like that, and again, like you said, even though he didn't have the title fight, Jose was never outside the title picture, or at least out the top of the card. He never was on the prelims, never later on the card, because of the respect he demanded and the respect he always showed going in there. Win, lose, or draw, you knew if you was taking on Jose Aldo, you better come with your A+ game.
You better come.
You had to come with your A game. And yes, there was a moment in his career where bringing your A game wasn't enough. Your A+ game wasn't enough. Beat Frank Yeager 17 times, even though Frank Yeager was like, I can do it one more time. Frankie, we've done this for the last 10 years, buddy.
You can't, but
one of the greats of all time. Kudos to Jose Aldo on getting to the UFC Hall of Fame. Shogun, Glover, you'll be there pretty soon. Speaking of pretty soon, we had to move on from one of the greatest rivalries in combat sports, but it did not finish in the way we were hoping. but that's the fight game for you.
Yeah.
Brandon Moreno defeats Divison Figueroa via doctor stoppage from a left hook, thumb knuckle to the eye.
That's like a thumb knuckle
Like
punch.
a knuckle punch.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentional, but it was just one, the thumb and the glove of the UFC is open.
Especially with the way the glove is made and
Yeah,
everything.
so when he throws the looping left hook and just lands, it just, it's one of those just like landing in your airways that knocks the air out of you. You've been hit 100 times, 1,000 times in that spot. This is just one where Brandon Moreno catches him with the thumb. It cuts right underneath Figueroa's eye. His eye swells up. He can't see out of it after the third round. They stop it. Moreno's now the champion. Again, it's not the way we wanted to see the fight end, but nonetheless, we've had 4 fights with these guys.
Yeah.
We've been given 3.5 very tremendous battles between these guys. It is time to move on. Brandon Moreno remains the featherweight champion, the flyweight champion. Figueroa is now going to move up to bantamweight at 135 and test his luck there. He's 35 years old. Like, hey, I might as well squeeze as much out of this as I can.
True.
Quick thoughts on the main event. On the co-main event, excuse me.
Co-main event. Such a weird thing to see when a fight ends like that. I mean, especially like you said, it's a series with these guys, 4 fights, never been done in UFC title fight history. I liked it for Brandon Moreno, and I don't think it diminishes him as a champion. I think what you saw in that fight was not only did Moreno have his moments where he was getting those shots in, he was connecting, and Fig was looking real rough at times, but at the same time, he survived moments where Fig could have ended the fight. He survived the standing rear naked choke. He survived Fig getting him on the ankle, and he survived till the end of the first round. The performance Brandon Moreno put out made me truly believe, yes, even though these men are going 4 fights with each other and it seems like they're so knit tight close, I think Brandon Moreno showed, despite how it ended, he was always going to be the better fighter, and the title is right with the person it should be. Now Fig did his thing. He got the belt, he defended it, then he has this absolutely iconic 4-fight series with Moreno. Now he's moving up to the weight above, and you know what? He can rest easy knowing he did his thing at flyweight. He did it. He got the belt. Now a new challenge. You see him take the gloves off. I like that act. I don't know if I've ever seen that. He wasn't retiring, but he was moving up in weight classes, and he was still taking the gloves off like guys do when they put them in the mat and retire. It was very symbolic. I also love the respect between these men, the bowing to each other.
Oh yeah, man. These guys have had a rivalry where it wasn't about I hate you, you hate me, F you. It was just, hey, you think you're good, I think I'm good. Let's see who's the better man is. It's been tremendous to watch, and I think that's one reason fans have loved this rivalry.
Yes.
Unlike some of the traditional ones, it doesn't have to be about trash talking, doesn't have to be about gimmicks and animation and build up a character. No, you can legit have a fantastic rivalry fans like by just going out there and giving it your all and competing against each other in these absolute wars they had.
Absolutely. And I mean, Fig and Moreno during the face-offs and the weigh-ins, there was respect. And when 2 fighters are going at it, they can have mutual respect, not talk mess. But one fighter might be better than the other, and he might know it deep down, and he just show pity respect. What these 2 men had was a respect of knowing my opponent is the only one who can equal me, and they as confident as those 2 men might have been going into each one of those fights. They at least somewhere in the back of their mind were thinking, if I'm not on my A game, if I don't bring it, he's going to get me this time. He's going to get me. I need to be on it, and it just builds. And when you know you're facing a challenge like that, something that big and just difficult, it brings the good fighters, the ones who are great and do great things. They're the ones who get that anger in them and get that little bit of fear. It's almost like a fear reaction. I need to be my best. I need to bring it. And if I don't, I'm going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, in this particular rivalry, it comes to an end. We saw the best of both of these guys. Speaking of seeing the best, Gilbert Burns defeats Neil Magny. Afterwards, Gilbert Burns said, generally fighters have a name that you want to call out.
Yeah.
Gilbert Burns has been calling out the same name for I don't know how long. Will he get it now? Colby Covington. Where you want to fight at, bro? You want to fight in Las Vegas? Want to fight in Oregon? Want to fight in Oklahoma? Want to fight in Georgia? Want to fight in Florida? What you want to do, buddy? What you want to do? Because I want to fight you. If I'm Gilbert Burns, I want to fight you, Colby Covington. Hey, Colby, I want to fight you. You want to keep fighting Kamaru Usman? Fight me. You need somebody at 170? Fight me.
Hold on,
you need somebody tough? Fight me.
If I'm Colby, I'm gonna need like a security guard right here. We know how Colby Covington rolls.
Oh yeah, very
we know how he
sensitive.
rolls.
Very sensitive. You need your space. It's a restraining order. I'm violating your personal space.
Yep,
Even though I'm the snowflake here. But anyways, let's not get too crazy into that. Gilbert Burns defeats Neil Magny, very dominant profession, by taking him to the ground, submitting him. Very good showing by him. There is levels to this. Gilbert Burns, one of the best grapplers in the UFC. Taking on, now he wants Colby Covington. Definitely seems like a matchup to make. Colby needs somebody to fight if he's healthy from the jaw injury or Jorge Masvidal sneaking him. Masvidal and Gilbert Burns were talking trash to each other. So Gilbert Burns does have some options. 170 is a murderer's row.
Yes.
Of just assassin after assassin after assassin. It's like trained samurais just sitting there like waiting for you, like who's next? So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Jessica Andrade defeated Lauren Murphy. Your boy, like you said earlier, Johnny Walker defeat Paul Craig. That was, Johnny Walker's a character. He's got an interesting style. The celebrations are fun to watch. Yeah. He does the worm, the one where he hurts his shoulder on the one. Yeah. So watch how he's gone down. UFC 283 is in the books. It's in the books. And it was a phenomenal showing down there in Brazil. The fans are always passionate. It was lovely. Tremendous to see. It was awesome. Great way for the UFC to start off. Many more good fight cards coming up. We're going to dive into those in the weeks coming up. But Griff, very good way to start off the year for MMA, for the UFC. Very good way. Definitely take some attention away from some of the other negative things that have come out or some of the things that aren't too fan friendly, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Got a fight night coming up with Derek Lewis headline there. We got another UFC pay-per-view between two of the greats. We got more and more coming up. We got some boxing news to get into as well as it comes on. So Griff, like we said, man, right here on the main event, we are going to be hot and ready every single week with all of our with all that's going on in the world of combat sports. I can't wait to get into it with you, brother. Can't wait to get into it with you, brother.
Pause. But I'm gonna say it's gonna a great year, brother. We are gonna have content all year through. Boxing, UFC. We might even talk about the slapping league that they're starting up. Who knows? All right, this is going to be a great year. I cannot wait.
I don't know if we're going to talk about the slapping league. I don't know much about that anyways. But nonetheless, right here on the Franchise Sports Media, this is the main event. Be sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. I'm Kalani Lua.
I'm Griff and Kemp.
Till next time, fight fans. Peace.